Hey, folks, it's Carrie Oberbrunner. Welcome to the Igniting Souls Conference. This is Meet the Speaker. This is a really fun time where we can just have a little kickback, learn about some of the speakers. Today, we have two incredible speakers, Kelly Knight, and we have Mark O'Donnell as well. And I want you, Mark, first go ahead, introduce yourself, what you run, because I know it's pretty powerful. EOS, our company, runs on it. And then we'll get into a little bit of biography and background. So, Mark, what company do you run, and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Carrie. So, as said, Mark O'Donnell, I'm visionary here at EOS Worldwide. And if you're not familiar with EOS, it's the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And ultimately, we help business owners get everything they want from their businesses by helping them implement a complete and simple and proven system that helps them do three things that we call vision, traction, and healthy. And so that's what we do all day, every day. We've helped over 15,000 companies with the help of a EOS implementer, and there's over 150,000 companies using our tools to date.
I love it. I love it. Here's what we're going to do as well. We're going to give away one of the books that is part of the EOS library. We're going to give away Rocket Fuel. So whoever is the most engaged member today on comments and shares, Michelle is going to pick a winner. And we have people jumping in from New Jersey and all over the place. So Kelly, I'll tell you what, Kelly, it's my banner. Just pop your screen back a little bit. We want to see your face a little bit more. Yeah, go. Yes, perfect. Looks great. Okay, 100%. So Kelly, besides being from Michigan, which is awesome, and my wife's name is Kelly, and so there's a lot of similarities here, but you have an incredible role. We're going to learn about this powerful duo thing going on, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
So Kelly Knight, I spent the majority of my career in the financial services industry, and it was about 6 years ago I had the great opportunity to become the integrator of this organization, succeeding Don Tinney, who was the original integrator to Gino Wickman, the founder of EOS. And so today, in today's world, Mark and I are Visionary Integrator, the dynamic duo that leads all things EOS.
Oh, that's so good. And I, first of all, I love your company. Your conference is fantastic. I just came back. What was it? Is it April or May last year?
April.
Okay. Unbelievable. In fact, I took our integrator there, Sarah, and you met her. And I'll tell you what, very few books changed my life, but Rocket Fuel literally changed my life. And I want to set it up, and then we'll unpack why it's so powerful. But I was at our company and I was doing pretty much everything. And what I mean by that was I was creating vision. I didn't know the term visionary, but I was creating vision. And then I would have to turn around and say, now we have to make it real. And then I got bored, frustrated, and ADD. So then I would create more vision. And then I would say, oh, crud, now I have to go integrate that. Is that a cycle? How much do you think of business owners are in that crazy cycle?
Yeah, my estimate would be the estimate would be that most of them are in that cycle. There's very rare, we think it's about 5% of entrepreneurs that can both be the visionary, the make it up person, and the make it real person at the same time over a long period. It's usually they can get maybe it's about 10 employees or so before, hey, I proved this, it works, and now it's boring. And so that's where a lot of companies get stuck, and a visionary ends up being a little frustrated to get to the next level and break through the ceiling.
Oh, yeah. So Kelly, when you come to conference at your session, you're going to be talking about this duo. Can you explain the duo and what it really is? And then maybe even give us a few examples from history about powerful duos.
Sure. So Mark and I will be taking you through, the meeting structure to keep you on the same page. So Visionary and the Integrators is as Mark described it, but it is so, so important to be on the same page. So as goes a leadership team, so goes the rest of the organization. Well, as goes the Visionary Integrator Duo and relationship, so goes the rest of the organization. So it's just so important. It takes a lot of discipline and hard work. It's not unlike that of a marriage to just really dig in and work hard to stay on the same page. So we'll be talking about different tools and structure and process in the model of EOS that can help you do that really, really well in an organization. And, I would say Mark and I do that all the time. We have same page meetings every Monday. And then we also have them once monthly, which is a 4-hour really working on the business session. And so that's more than what you might read about in Rocket Fuel, but that is what is working for us right now because we are very dynamically growing as an organization with different things that we're working on, like EOS 1. So that is one situation that, I might explain is a little different. Everybody's got to figure out what is your meeting pulse to keep those circles connected and to stay on the same page.
That's good.
Mark, how else do we do that? What are some other examples or stories you might come up with?
Yeah, I'll just use some historical examples too. So Roy and Walt Disney, there's just a pretty much behind every really great business story, there is a visionary and integrator duo that is usually the integrator is behind the scenes and you don't always see them because they're sort of the unsung heroes of almost every business, because without them, they're the glue that keeps everything together. It keeps the visionary sane. And Dan Sullivan, when he talked about the visionary and integrator, he said the visionary is making it up, the integrator is making it real, and the process management line, they're making it reoccur, or we call it the leadership team, making that reoccur every single day. So as Kelly pointed out, that visionary and integrator relationship is so important for you to be able to break through the ceiling each and every time. Mm. And visionaries, we get off track often. We chase shiny things by nature. Yeah. Things get really exciting and really boring at the same time. And so you need that stabilizing force of the integrator to really be a great manager to the leadership team and almost manage the visionary energy at the same time. So prioritizing and making sure the bandwidth of the organization is realistic. A lot of visionaries, myself included, we think we can get everything done in like 2 hours. But most often the team can't, and it's an unrealistic expectation. So the integrators is level setting what the organization can really do. Wow. Helping you prioritize and freeing the visionary up to work on the business and be looking out over the horizon to what's coming next. It's an important function in any business. Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Totally. So Kelly, go ahead. Yeah. Add to that, please.
Well, Gary, I was just going to say, I've been so fortunate to work with 11 different visionaries, and no two visionaries are exactly the same, and nor are integrators either. So visionaries can be alike in certain ways, different in other ways. And so it's important that, as the integrator, you are the right missing the puzzle piece to that visionary and also to the organization. So that's taught in Rocket Fuel. And so it's really, really important to just, as a visionary seeking an integrator, to really find the very best and right fit that is going to have the same energy and be able to do everything that the business requires, so that, Carrie, as you were describing, you were very normal. The way that you were feeling before you were able to really articulate what you needed and to go get Sarah is very, very typical. And so that's something that we want to just normalize, make visionaries feel very comfortable with that process, in the sense that there is the right person out there to be your business partner and companion on that journey.
Wow. So 11 visionaries, was that different companies, or explain that backstory a little bit?
Well, I consider the very first visionary that I ever worked with was my dad. So he was an engineer by trade and then actually retired from General Motors and started his own business. And the way that he taught me was through visual pictures and visual aids. And so that's actually, just without knowing that that's what that was at the time, that's where I really learned that I love working with visionaries and taking ideas and making them real. And then over many, many years, did a startup and a variety of different things, and then landed at EOS. So different companies, different visionaries. And then here at EOS, I consider 4 of those 11 here because working with Gino Wickman and being mentored by him and Don Tinney, who was his business partner, the original integrator. Mike Payton, who was the visionary at the time that I came into the business, who's since gone back to being a certified EOS implementer. And then now Mark O'Donnell. So it's been so fun and so exciting to work with different personalities and different talents. And Mark is exactly the right visionary that we need for EOS and what we're working on today.
This is fun. I'm gonna pick on you both and ask questions about each other. Okay, can I do this?
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
All right. So Kelly, we'll go to you first about what about a visionary who doesn't let go or is scared to let go? What do you do? Is that just a quirk, or do you have to train the visionary? Do you have to regain trust? Share with us a little bit.
It'd be a variety of things. I mean, one is my approach would simply just be to get curious about it. Ask great questions of the visionary about what might be going on. There could be fear associated with it. Maybe they've never had an integrator before, so there's just no experience having let go of the vine. It could be that, open and honest, they may not be comfortable with the integrator taking the reins. Maybe there's a gap in their skill set and they don't have fully the GWC, as we say at EOS, which is the get it, want it capacity for the role at that moment.
Okay.
And part of it is sometimes integrators just need to ask for what they want for themselves too. Open and honest conversations, as always, with the visionary, and just get inside the visionary's head. And it's through that curiosity of asking good questions, being a good listener, kind of interpreting what you're hearing so that you can get to what the real answer is. Mark, as a visionary, what do you think helps you to let go of the vine? And Mark and I don't have this issue, candidly. I think he's really great at this. But if you were feeling like you didn't want to hand something over, what would be the thing that would help you get comfortable with it, or how do you communicate that to me?
Yeah. Well, we do communicate really well through our same page meetings and the structures that will go through October 21st.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of trust in giving something over, some idea. And so usually what happens between the two of us, I will use some thinking tools to really sell myself on the idea. And so when I come to Kelly, I already know that she's the right person to take it to the next level or be my thinking partner to test my ideas and just really validate what I'm thinking. So by the time it's ready to let go, I'm already sold. I'm kind of already moving on to the next thing, quite frankly. So I'm not married to that outcome by the point I hand it over. I will say, though, that as I've worked with hundreds of visionaries through my EOS implementer business, and I've experienced this myself as well, where once you have a great fit integrator and you've passed that thing off, one thing that occurs is that you have a little bit of an identity crisis where you've let it go and you're seeing it go on and flourish, and you're like, oh, now I'm kind of bored. And so you start to grab it back and bring it back to yourself, to take it to for no other reason than you don't have
something to do.
Yeah. Wow. And just like any entrepreneur who sells a company, you got to have something else on the other side of that sale. Otherwise, you have an identity crisis. You start walking around the block wondering what you're going to do with your life. And so the good news is most often, most visionaries have the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, as do I. But that's one of the biggest reasons we see visionaries clawing back things that they've delegated, because it's proven to work, And once you prove it to work, you're kind of bored with it. And now you start to claw back that identity.
That's good. That's good. Okay. Here's another question. Oh, go ahead.
This may be really helpful too. So Mark, talk about the energy thing, because some of the frustration for visionaries is that their integrator isn't pacing with them, that frequency is the same. And I think you really articulate that well.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of times in trying to find the right puzzle piece, the visionary and integrator puzzle piece, the visionary gets frustrated when the integrator can't keep pace. And I would refer to it as just the cadence and pulse of work, the frequency in which they operate. The frequency has to match. Otherwise, both visionary and integrator will be frustrated, because the integrator will want to go slow, the visionary will want to go fast, and it just creates this friction. It's really about the way in which you approach a problem that matters. So Kelly will do a little bit more fact finding, a lot more follow through than I will. I'll be kind of out on the edge and doing research and development, but she's moving at the same frequency in which I'm working. If she was way slower and just said no to everything, I'd be frustrated, and so would she, because she'd be saying stop, I'd be saying go. And I use the analogy my grandmother used to use. She was a big Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers fan. And she would say that Ginger Rogers could have the same skills as Fred Astaire. She would just do it all backwards and in high heels. And from my perspective, that's what Kelly does all day, is she's moving at the same pacing that I am, and she's just doing it backwards and in high heels, just a totally different
interesting
approach to it.
Oh, that's good.
Matching that energy intensity matters a lot.
That's good. I love it. Okay. So fractional integrators. Let's say that some of our conference attendees say, wow, get it. I'm gonna buy Rocket Fuel, and we'll talk at the end here about Rocket Fuel University and some other things. But let's say they're on board, but they say for whatever reason, maybe the integrator has another job. Maybe they can only do a certain amount of hours. Maybe the company can't afford a full-time integrator. You have this thing called fractional integrators. What's the pros? What's the cons? What is it? And maybe, tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. Kelly, you want me to take that one, or would you like to?
I'd like you to speak about it, having been an implementer yourself and what you were seeing with your clients. I think that's a unique perspective to share.
Yeah. So I would say that there's some small companies, they can't afford a full-time integrator. And their business, quite frankly, doesn't need the horsepower of a full-time, super capable integrator. And so it could really just start out as an assistant, a virtual assistant who's just keeping you on track, basically cashing the checks that your mouth is writing, keeping you accountable. And that can work great for a certain period of time. And then eventually you're going to, as the business grows, say you're 10 people, 15 people, a fractional integrator can work to bridge the gap between a full-time person where you have the money to afford them and it's a full-time job. So fractional integrators can fill that gap in between an assistant who's part-time or even full-time to someone who has really been to where you want to go, and they have some of the disciplines that you lack and the skill sets that you lack. But I would encourage people to think about it. It is temporary. I have never seen a long-term fractional integrator relationship work. And it goes to even fractional leadership over a long term doesn't really work. Well, why is that? And as I talked about the frequency of work, as a company grows, the demands grow. And the real purpose of the integrator is to free the visionary up, to work on things in the future,
Okay.
to then lead and manage the leadership team, and making sure that they're doing quarterly conversations. They're making sure that each of those leaders are focused, they're prioritizing their work, and they're moving the business forward as a really cohesive team. The integrator owns that leadership team. And if you're part-time, now virtual, maybe you can get away with, if you're a decentralized company, your virtual company, then maybe you can get away with it being part-time, maybe. However, we just don't see that happening. And that person really has to have the respect of every person on the leadership team. They have to be present. They have to be focused on freeing them up so they can deliver great work to their customers.
Yeah, and I think that's beautifully said, Mark. And I would also add that what's so important is what Gino calls put the love in it. And so that time intensive, the leadership management and accountability part for sure, but it's also this trusting relationship that you're building with each member of the leadership, which is unique and different and individualized of its own. And so that investment to get to know your leadership team really well and to help them become the next best version of themselves and have that healthy, cohesive team, it requires some time and attention. And so if you're dealing with a company that's really growing fast, and you have leadership team members that are growing in their GWC, and even if they're perfect fit GWC, you really need an integrator that's willing and loves, I always say, good, bad, and ugly. You love people because you're dealing with the emotions and the humanity of the lives that they're living every day too. So the fractional, I'm sure, can do that well, but when you're moving quickly, you really want to have the most healthy, cohesive team long-term. That full-time integrator that's my perspective.
That's good.
A day a week just isn't going to cut it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. And if it is a day a week, don't you think that the visionary could tend to pull things back then? As in like, well, they're not here for 4 days, so I'm going to go do it, or, and then it's not really healthy. What do you think?
It's not really healthy. And I would put that in the bucket of abdication instead of delegation. The visionary will have delegated some things, but most what we usually see from a fractional perspective, the visionary's mind is already disconnected from leading and managing the leadership team. And so they're off already, and they've abdicated everything that a fractional person just can't do. So they could end up pulling some of those things back if they realize that they have to dive back in because the fractional relationship isn't working. Some will actually keep the fractional person around, but really they're doing all the work anyway, and they're kind of become a coach.
And visionaries typically do in their visionary box in terms of roles and responsibilities. Culture is often one of those 5 roles and responsibilities. That being said, the integrator also needs to own and be responsible for that culture being maintained across the entire organization and all throughout the organization, not just at the leadership team level. So again, it's just one of those things, just to go deeper with every relationship and to uphold what the visionary's vision is. It takes a lot of harmonious integration and that steady beat of the drum.
Wow. So. We got, by the way, we have a lot of people commenting. These are great questions, comments. So thanks for commenting, everybody. You mentioned the 5 things of a visionary. Would you call it a box? And you said culture is one of them. What are some other ones?
It's the role of the visionary. I mean, for me, I can say it's the big relationships and big ideas and problem solving, and sometimes research and development. Culture may be part of that. Gotcha. Kind of really depends on the type of visionary that you have. And I'll say for Mark, one of his unique abilities is he will kind of go into the workshop and tinker. He's a research and developer, an innovator, a disruptor. And so it's really neat to see how he fulfills that role for EOS as we're blossoming into a platform, a digitized platform for EOS. So it might be different for a different visionary. So that's kind of how I see it. Mark, anything you'd add to that?
No, I mean, I think that those are the classic 5 things that we put in the Visionary box. And as we said, every Visionary is different. And so it's really customized to fit each unique business with those 5 roles. There's not a standard 5 things that get put into every Visionary.
Okay. So one more question, then we'll talk about how to find out more about you and all the tools with the Visionary Integrator. Should a Visionary attend the leadership meeting, the L10?
The answer to that is yes. They absolutely should, to stay connected with the team.
Good.
So, yes.
That's good. I love it. Well, good for me. I am. Here's a question, Kelly. Speed round here. Should a Visionary have rocks?
No, in an ideal world, no. It happens from time to time if there's, something very specifically that can be managed by that Visionary. Will on occasion see it, but oftentimes if there's something that Mark is heavily working on, I'll own it, or another member of the team will own it, and he'll support that, whether it be driving revenue or marketing or other things that he has a specialty niche in, but somebody else will actually own the rock and he'll support it.
Oh, that's good. Love it. Okay. So can't wait for you both to come and speak. And you're talking about the Visionary Integrator Duo. So you said that you have, again, give us that recap. You have some thoughts, some worksheets, some processes. Can you explain again what people are going to get by coming to the Igniting Souls conference?
Yeah, so from my perspective, and Mark, jump in with some of your thoughts, but we're going to take you through the proper meeting structure to make sure that you're staying on the same page,
nice.
How to leverage the skills of each individual, both the Visionary Integrator and also the leadership team. Again, just focusing on, as goes the leadership team, as goes the Visionary Integrator relationship, so goes the rest of the organization. So what are the 6 key components and the tools and the process here at EOS that helps support that to be true and to keep Visionaries and Integrators on the same page?
Wow. I'm coming to that one. I bet you've heard people say they wish they could be a fly on the wall in your same page meetings. Have you heard this?
We have.
Yeah.
Mark and I really do enjoy pulling back the curtain and sharing what it does look like at EOS. So during our presentation, we do plan to show you some of the things, the behind the scenes of what Mark and I deal with and how we're running a dynamically growing organization between the two of us. So we hope that we can impart some wisdom, some failures, and some things that we haven't always done so well, but we use EOS tools to help us work through it and to get to the other side.
That's so good. So everybody, the link is there. Get your ticket. Tickets are definitely going fast. A lot of people in person, but I'd say a lot more coming virtually. Let's talk in our last 2 minutes about Rocket Fuel University and this forum. Give us some of those things, and we're going to have our team drop links in as well.
Yeah, great. Sure. Mark, you want me to take it?
Sure. So the first step to finding more about Rocket Fuel and Rocket Fuel University is our free Rocket Fuel University, Rocket Fuel 101. Our Mark Winters, who created Rocket Fuel along with Gino Wickman. That's lots of content, about 2.5, 3 hours of free content to take the assessments to figure out if you're a visionary or if you're an integrator, and some other tools to find the right puzzle piece, along with some tips on how to find the unicorn of a great integrator.
Yes.
Then from there, you have the opportunity to attend a one-day masterclass, and that is a deep dive in-person event where integrators from all over the place come and learn just the deep dive tools of what it is to be a great integrator and how to cultivate a great integrator visionary relationship.
Love
and
it.
Then there's the ongoing forum that is coming together every quarter, every couple weeks, with other integrators on a similar path as you are. And it's all about mastering the tools of EOS as it pertains to the integrator role. And so that's a growing community of integrators there. And so those are the steps to get involved.
And
Yeah,
I'd say,
Harry, and
oh,
I would say one other closing thought on that is there's a visionary only forum, an integrator only forum, and a visionary and integrator forum, totally free to join and just check it out. And there's a crystallizer assessment so that both visionaries and integrators can take that and really kind of nail, am I a visionary? Am I an integrator? If there's any question about, or are you a little bit both?
oh, nice. Highly recommend these things. Absolutely. My score was like visionary 95 and integrator like 43. So before that awareness, I was a scary man. But thank you so much. We cannot wait for you both to speak on this incredible topic. You've helped us, you've helped the Igniting Souls, our business, and thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you.
We're grateful. Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate you.